I think this second summit will have to take stock of the preparation of this document so that each and every one of us will be ready or even working on some of the projects that will lead the mobilization of resources that we can make available to the success of this strategic summit.
These are not credit arrangements at all. It is a form of tribute. We had and continue to have a completely different approach. This gives us certain advantages when working with our partners, both with those with whom we had special relations during the Soviet era and those with whom we are relaunching relations now.
The purpose is to have global stability, which we don't have. So when you see these formations coming up, like BRICS, they are coming up as a result of the fact that there is no global stability in the sense as we should know it, where the balance is just in favor of the North. So the global South, first of all, we also need to realize that there is a lot we can do that benefits us in the global South. So, but we need to come together. We need to work together.
Welcome to Drar for Africa, where we delve into the intricate tapestries of Africa's political and economic landscapes and explore the continent's evolving relationships with global powers. In today's video, we focus on a pivotal topic, the role of African leaders in strengthening relations with Russia and the potential impact on Africa's economy and stability. Let's begin.
In my opinion, Russia, Africa, China, other partners, even outside Africa, Latin America, Asia, developing these projects and their manuals or details of the plans that will require the mobilization of resources. I would say this continent has, as we're told, has more than 60% of natural endowments globally. If this 60% could be mobilized to implement projects at a sectoral and industrial level, then we talk about the time frame for implementing these projects by mobilizing the required resources. I'm confident to say that the Russian Federation has all the industrial base and technology base to provide the support required for this strategic partnership between Russia and Africa, but also including other continents that will make their contributions at the final achievement of the goals. And the draft document will have to be prepared, I say now, and probably in the coming summit that will take place anytime next year, so that we have a clearly defined strategy. The strategy will have to include a number of sectoral and industrial plans, detailed plans on the timing of implementation, plus the mobilization of resources, not only material resources, financial resources, but also technological and industrial resources that will have to be mobilized to implement these detailed plans. The detailed plans could be implemented by putting in place mechanisms that will take every project on its own and implement, ultimately creating an integrated approach on implementing those particular programs. And this requires a lot of refinement on the institutions and then the mechanisms that we'll have to create. I would urge all those who have the resources above any other party, I would urge the Russian Federation to provide the support and make the contributions for detailing out the strategy, working out detailed plans on objectives that will be defined by clearly detailed the technological and quantifiable numbers, plus the time frame for implementing this project. Once we have this document ready, the contributions from each and every partner at the continental level, on the part of the Russian Federation, plus other global partners who will join our effort to change the reality in Africa, because the coming generation after 25 years will have a population of 2.4 or 2.5 billion within the continent, and their issues will have to be addressed at an earlier phase rather than later on coming facing challenge for the implementation of this project. I think this second summit will have to take stock of the preparation of this document so that each and every one of us will be ready or even working on some of the projects that will lead the mobilization of resources that we can make available to the success of this strategic summit. Once again, I'd like to thank you, President Putin, for creating this conducive environment for exchanging ideas and developing consensus, but going beyond that to implementable, sustainable programs for the benefit of humanity, not only Russia and Africa. Thank you again.
By the openness and desire of the Africans to work with us.
Их желанием с нами работать. Понимаете, в чем, на мой взгляд, в чем главное?
And you know what? I think the main reason for that is, it is that we have never acted as colonizers anywhere.
Наше сотрудничество всегда строилось.
Our cooperation has always been based on equality or a desire to provide help and support. While the countries that were competing with us, including now, had a completely different policy. As recently as 1957, people from Africa were being brought in cages to European countries like Belgium. I was recently shown a photograph of this. It's a horrific sight. Entire African families were put up on display in cages, including children in separate cages. How can this be forgotten? Nobody in Africa will forget this. And to this day, they are trying to issue commands and pursue their neo-colonial policy there. They have put all African countries in debt, which runs into trillions of dollars. In other words, they have created a financial credit system for Africa, under which the African countries can never pay off their loans. These are not credit arrangements at all. It is a form of tribute. We had, and continue to have, a completely different approach. This gives us certain advantages when working with our partners, both with those with whom we had special relations during the Soviet era and those with whom we are relaunching relations now.
The African continent is indeed becoming a new center of power. Its political and economic role is growing exponentially. Everyone will have to take this reality into account. For example, let's look at the initiative by a number of African states on solving the Ukraine crisis, which is an acute problem. We are not shying away from reviewing it. Previously, any mediation missions were monopolized exclusively by countries with so-called advanced democracies. Not anymore. Now, Africa is ready to help solve the problems that seem outside its primary interests. We treat your initiatives with respect and carefully study them.
The past contributions that were made by Russia are not used as leverage for the current investment or economic processes. It's not almost like you owe us, so therefore you must, do the following. It is based on really good measure of respect for one another, and that's what I think many of us appreciated.
To my understanding, for global order, the purpose is to have global stability, which we don't have. So when you see these formations coming up, like BRICS, they are coming up as a result of the fact that there is no global stability in the sense as we should know it, where the balance is just in favor of the North. So the global South, first of all, we also need to realize that there is a lot we can do that benefits us in the global South. So, but we need to come together. We need to work together. And after that, we can even gain more by having global South cooperate with the global North. But the global North has not been favorable to that kind of cooperation that creates that stability, that feels that everyone is gaining from that cooperation. And that led to the BRICS. BRICS, I'm sure, will, in a way, act as a check to the limitless use of power and means that the North has. So maybe it moves all of us to that stability we are looking for. Now, for China, I don't see why, in fact, the first question, with China growing, becoming more powerful, stronger, we don't see anything in history that suggests that China has misused its strength. I don't see it. Rather, we have been benefiting from the cooperation and the attitude to bring everybody to the table where everyone feels they are winning in the process. That is, to my understanding, what China presents. But we will not avoid geopolitical competition. That exists for a fact. And China being a part of that, I think, presents a fair and a balanced way of competing. So the reduction of the misuse many times of the power held by the global North, I think is very important, and China has been contributing to that in many ways. And for the global South, those of us, small, big countries, we just need to work together and make sure that we are contributing our fair share to this global stability that the world wants.